Today we rank every minigame in Super Mario Party Jamboree by how dangerous they are. If all of these games were real, how would we do playing them? Let's find out which ones will leave you with injury, which ones will leave you with death, and which are totally safe to play. First up, we have Lumber Tumble. This game definitely has some potential for injury because we are pretty high up here on these platforms. Though if you fall, it is into water, so it's not the worst thing, but there's probably also rocks down there. Not to mention the huge blades the Shy Guys bring out on these logs. I think this one's gotta go in Broken Bones. Big Top Quiz. Well, we're not doing a whole lot in this one. It's just a memory game where we sit down and watch toads walk around on balls. At a show like this, personally, I would feel totally safe. Or should I say, toad-ally safe. The camera ready. The same thing here. Nothing too physical going on. We're just in the park taking some photos. I guess there are enemies around, but they're minding their own business. Totally safe. Scarousel is where we have a bunch of obstacles trying to push us into the electricity from the amps. That doesn't sound too good. There's a chance you could get pretty fried if you don't stay on the course. Death wouldn't be guaranteed, but there would still be some major injuries from this. Snag the flags. Honestly, the most dangerous part about this one is the question of if we have air or not out on this random planet. In terms of the game itself, all we do is run around collecting different flags. There's nothing dangerous I can see about that. Sandwiched. I'm conflicted here because it looks like people are getting crushed by the stuff falling on them, but at the same time, it is just sandwiches. Some meat and veggies wrapped up in soft bread. I really can't see how too much can go wrong with this. Maybe I'm just way too hungry and overlooking something, but I think a good spot for this is slightly painful. Hot cross blocks. I'm also conflicted about this one. We're in a castle with a bunch of lava, and obviously that's not good, but there's no chance of us ever falling in because it's just a puzzle where we're picking pieces. Because of the fact that we only walk along the platforms and never fall off, I think this one's gotta go in totally safe. Light wave battle. Here's another game where we have some shocks. They appear to be a bit smaller than before, but you're still taking 3 hits before you're eliminated. There's a reason they teach people about safety with this stuff, because a lot of injuries can happen. Normally, I would be saying there's some danger with these thwomps around, but not this time, because they're just a part of the game. All we gotta do is spot the difference in these pictures. What could possibly go wrong? Cold front. I'm seeing some pretty big concerns in this place. First off, we're walking on ice, which already isn't good. It's obviously very cold out, and there's blowy joeys trying to shove us down into the freezing cold water. Swimming in that water with these temperatures is no joke, and I really don't see any way for you to get out. I think it's so extreme, we gotta put this one in death tier. Hot, hot, hop. And this is the exact opposite of the temperature scale. Lava surrounding everything in view, fire bars rotating around, and magmars moving through the platform. Do you seriously expect to get out of this situation alive? Domination. The best button-mashing minigame right here, but what does this mean in terms of danger? Well, it's definitely not from the womps, it's from the swinging of the hammer. You can swing that thing so quickly, I wouldn't be surprised if you pulled a muscle or just experienced some soreness from that. It's not too bad, but I'll put it in slightly painful. 3-throw. This one is a bit more chill, in my opinion. People play basketball all the time, and sure, I guess injuries happen from that sport, but I can't see that being the case for the kind of shooting we're doing here. This is totally safe. Granite getaway. Oh man, a giant boulder rolling towards us in a narrow cave. What would Indiana Jones say about this? Here's the thing, if that rock actually did catch up to you and run you over, what would happen? Would it kill you, or would you just be hurt? I feel like that's a debate we need to leave open. Because of that, and the fact that death is not guaranteed because you could run away, I'll leave this in major injury. Tilt-A-Golf has nothing I'm worried about. This is basically just a tabletop game that a child could play with from time to time. We're gonna ignore the fact that the background looks like it's pretty high up because I don't know exactly what this means in relation to the characters, so it's totally safe. Night lights. Similar situation as domination. Rotating a crank to light up the castle is not a dangerous activity in itself, but if you're trying to go fast against the competition, there could be a bit of pain you get yourself into. Hammer at home. Using tools always comes with at least a little bit of danger. Gotta make sure you're swinging that hammer in the right spot. Everyone looks to be taking their time and being careful though, so it's not totally safe, but I can't justify this going any higher than slightly painful. Twist and sort. We take a bunch of fish in their bags of water and sort them into the correct tanks. In terms of us, we're just moving the platforms. Nothing's really happening over there. In terms of the fish, there's still water right there. Even if a bag happens to break, I'm confident everyone will be fine. Shuttle scuttle. The same thing we've already seen. Got way too much electricity to watch out for. We are in a contraption this time, but the fact that it's made of metal means it's not going to change the injuries caused by the shock. Tiny triathlon. Here's another thing that seems pretty practical and more on the safe side. It's not even that much physical activity. The worst thing that can happen is maybe you fall off the bike or hit one of the hurdles. I've actually done that before. True story, and it was a little painful. Pickaxe dash. Imagine you're digging through this tunnel and the whole thing caves in on you. With 4 people doing this, it could happen, but it's not guaranteed, and it's not a huge patch of dirt. I don't know. I'll meet in the middle here, and I'll say broken bones. Gatekeepers. This is just a straight-up guessing game with no real danger around. You could say some would feel danger from the ghosts, but they're not attacking. The fact that they are just there to give answers makes this totally safe. Sled to the edge, and now it's the penguins trying to pull us in the freezing cold water. At least here you have control over when to let go, but even with that, how are you getting out of this place without going in the water? I just don't think it's gonna happen. This one is going all the way at the top. Rinks to riches. Skating in Goomba shoes to get coins. In theory, this one isn't too bad, but skating can result in someone getting hurt if you're not careful. There's also the issue of people bumping into each other on this one. I'll put this in slightly painful. Treetop treasure. Now we're in a tree on seesaw platforms. These are very unstable and very easy to fall from, and a fall from a tree this high up could result in some broken bones. Treasure divers. We swim a little bit below the surface to collect chests. This water is obviously warm enough to be in, but the question is, can you swim? If so, I think you should be fine with this one. There really is nothing holding you beneath the surface, and the boat is right there. Might depend on the person, but personally, I would feel safe with this. Platform peril. Definitely don't feel safe here, though. Jumping across a bunch of platforms with no railing super high off the ground. Though I will say, it does look like there is water beneath us. Not saying that doesn't make it dangerous, but I think it might just bring it out of death tier. Stamp out! Exclamation point. Amazing game where we try to stamp the most on a board. Straight up, I don't see any danger here at all. Even though we're in this large stamping machine, I don't think anything's gonna go wrong. Trampoline. Now we bounce on ant troopers and try not to hit the spiky ones. It's basically like a bounce house, until you possibly get impaled. This could range from anywhere in the middle 3 tiers. It all depends on how big the spike is compared to you. We're gonna go with broken bones on this one. And now to the 1v3s, starting with Sunset Standoff. One player rides in a massive bonsai robot trying to charge into everyone else. The size of this giant metal contraption and the speed we're going makes me think some major injuries are gonna happen from this. Cookie cutters. Just standing in a kitchen cutting some dough. I'm sure someone's gonna say you could get a cut on your finger from this, but that's almost grasping at straws. This is a safe activity for almost anyone. Unfriendly flying object. So one player drops these spiky platforms on the other 3 players. This one I have more concerns about because the setup of this would lead to the spikes going right through people's heads. That's definitely not just a little thing we can overlook. Lost and pound. One player is taking all the pain here because once again a hammer swings down right on their head. Pretty forcefully, I might add. I'm putting this in major injury also. Arch rivals. Normally I would be against shooting targets very close to other people like this because they could get hit, but it looks like these arrows just have suction cups and not the real pointed tips. So they may still hurt a little bit, but not too much. On again, off again. One player drops rolling spiky enemies on their 3 opponents. This one could still result on these falling on their head, but it's not as high, and I don't think it would be as bad as some other spiky stuff, so we're gonna go with broken bones. Bruiser bash. Okay, a giant robot made of metal swinging these fists super fast to knock players out of the arena. If major injuries don't happen with this, I don't know what to say. Cage catch. One player swims in a pool and tries to avoid getting caught in the cage. Everything about this seems fine except the cage dropping. A little bit off on the aim, and that could get you. Definitely a chance of some pain on this one. Income stream. We're cruising through the water, trying to get coins and not fall to our undeniable doom. The stream seems wide enough that falling off isn't super likely, but I feel like I can't put this one at the bottom. Tough to find the right spot for it. It could be death, but you could survive. So I'm gonna say major injury. Blame it on the crane. One player uses a crane to grab the others in their little capsules, and when they're dropped in the pipe like this, it looks like they're in pain. How much of it is hard to say, but I'm leaning towards it only being slightly painful. Snow brawl. You could say this one is just your average snowball fight, in which case it wouldn't be that bad. However, in actuality, when you get hit, you get frozen in an ice block. I don't understand how that works. Should this bring the ranking up at all? Maybe, but I feel like with the logic I've been using, I just have to focus on the throwing snow part of it, which would only result in a little pain from being cold or getting hit. And squeaky shakedown. I don't think hitting someone like this with a hammer is a good idea, but as the name implies, it is only a squeaky hammer we're using to bash everyone else, so that shouldn't result in too much pain, right? Now it's on to the 2v2s. First is Rocky Rope Race. Two players take turns swinging each other from bar to bar to cross the gap. If both let go at the same time, you fall, of course. Hard to say exactly how deep this cave is and how long that fall would be, but for that reason, it feels like this belongs in major injury. Pickin' produce. It's just moving fruits to different conveyor belts. How much safer can you get? About as safe as cutting steak in prime cut. Now you could cut yourself with a blade, but honestly, I'm not really worried about that. Everyone seems to be safely holding it the way they should. Dory pedal paddle. You're in a pedal boat racing across the water. I mean, come on, people use these all the time for fun. Robo arm wrestle. Self-explanatory, and all you do is press a button to make the robot move. Even if one of them gets destroyed in the end, all four of these players have absolutely nothing to worry about. Shadow play. Rotate a wheel and match the shadows. Seriously, I have nothing to say with this one. Matchmakers. Pick cards and try to match them. If you don't, nothing really happens. Once again, the Womps aren't there to hurt you, they're just hosting. We are on a roll with these totally safes, but that changes in defuse or lose. Ground pound spark so they don't reach King Babomb before the other team. Either way, an explosion is going to happen on one of the sides, and yeah, I wouldn't want to be near that thing when it happens. This has got to go in major injury. Jump the gun. One person shoots bullets into targets and the teammate jumps across. Another situation where it's pretty easy for someone to fall here, and considering we're above the clouds, not feeling super great about it. Two-axis taxi. In this one, we're in a car moved vertically by one person and horizontally by the other. And now there are some obstacles we can hit when in the vehicle, therefore I can't say it's totally safe, but I think we're going slow enough that hitting something would just be slightly painful. A tricky turntable. All we do here is jump on a button to make the turntable spin the right number of times. It's pretty simple, not too much going on, except for the bombs that show up occasionally. Because they are the smaller ones, I'll be a bit more generous on this one, and I'll say slightly painful. Coin corral. Lassoing a bunch of chests full of coins. This also just seems like a basic activity for most people. However, some chests are very heavy and need to be pulled with two people. Not to mention, again, the bombs that are on there. We'll put this in slightly painful as well. To the duel minigames, first we got fast fishing. I think the name pretty much sums up the whole thing. Just a super quick fishing experience. Yeah, this is going on totally safe. Slappy go round. This one is a bit more intense because we're ground pounding a switch that sends a giant hand around to hit both the players. It looks like it could make quite an impact no matter who it hits. So, you know what? I'm gonna go with broken bones. Fuzzy heights. All we gotta do is move our car up this pole and try not to hit the fuzzies. That right there is about all the danger we have in this place. The same enemy all the way through. I can't imagine touching these would hurt that much, right? Stone eye bowling. This is something I think everyone would want to try. Rolling a bowling ball down a huge hill trying to hit the pins at the bottom. Maybe not the safest thing for those guys, but for us at the top of the hill, we're as fine as can be. And then all the marbles. Your classic race through a bunch of balls on the ground. And like, what is really happening here? Everything just kind of moves out of the way when you run towards it, and you can make make a pretty clear path to the goal. The way this one is designed seems very questionable, and because of that, I think it's totally safe. And now we have the item mini-games, and they are all pretty similar. We have Roll With It, Prize Line, A Stone's Throw, Flip and Find, and Prize Draw. All of these are super simple things that are basically just tabletop games requiring no physical effort. That's why all of them will be grouped together down here and totally safe. Then we have the Showdown minigames, featuring a bunch of different characters. Of course, there's the best character, Mario, and his three-peat. There's a common danger theme for his 3 games. Leaf Leap, you have a super tall climb, Bumper Balls is on a platform above the clouds, and Shy Guy Says you're hovering at the highest point of all. There's a ton of height in these. Not only that, but they all involve falling in some way. It is essentially required for people to take this super high plunge. That's why, in this case, I think we have our next game going in Death Tier. Luigi's Rescue Operation. Luigi gets trapped in a haunted mansion and we must save him. This is done by solving a bunch of puzzles as we make our way through the rooms. It's basically just an escape room. I know that it would seem more dangerous because of the theming, but nothing bad is actually happening to us. It's all just for show. Peach's Day Off. This one involves carrying gifts, which does have some bitty buds that can hurt a little bit. Picking donuts, which... come on. And loading the fireworks cannons, which would only be safe in a controlled environment. With everything averaged together, I'll put this one in slightly painful. Daisy's Field Day. Here we have a series of minigames where we jump across platforms over the water to collect coins. It's probably something you could find at certain water parks, but if you're not the most agile person, you might slip and fall into the water. This one could also lead to a little bit of pain. Wario's Buzzer Beater. Okay, yeah, we're not doing anything ourselves here. We just answer all the questions Wario gives us. Workout for the brain, but no physical pain. Waluigi's Pinball Arcade. Same thing for this one, just playing pinball. I mean, it's really cool, but definitely not dangerous. Yoshi's Mountain Race. This one does have more to it, but I'm not too worried still. Some jumps are needed to reach the top of the mountain, but none of them are that high. I'd be willing to bet messing up would only result in a little bit of pain. Rosalina's Radical Race. And now we have a snowboarding event. Well, personally, I can't snowboard, and it wouldn't go well for me if I did this. Especially considering there's literally a loop in this course. Probably not too far-fetched to say some broken bones could happen here. DK's Conga Line. Here's another game that requires no physical activity. Playing the bongos with this amazing beat is all there is to it. Junior's Jauntlet. Okay, here is where it gets intense. Bowser Jr. throws a variety of challenges at you, and most of them involve avoiding enemies. Not the harmless ones either, like the dangerous stuff we've already talked about. There is no telling what could happen on this platform, and because of that, I think I gotta put this one in major injury. Let's go to the 8-player games now, and we'll start with Juice Works. For this one, we just have the group working together to make apple juice, picking the apples, squeezing the juice, and putting them on the delivery truck. I can't see anything dangerous about any of these stages. Looks like a safe work environment to me. Ball volley. All we do here is stand in a line and bump a volleyball all the way down. Very simple, and I don't think anyone's getting hurt doing this. Ballistic bingo. Okay, so for this, we shoot cannons to hit targets on a ship. You might think at first that operating this would be dangerous in itself, which I can see, but all of them are just facing the water, and we trust everyone here to operate these things responsibly, right? Well, I sure hope so. Bath bombs. These enemies are storming the gate, so pick them up and throw them in the water. You're gonna have to take a lot of explosions here, unless you throw them perfectly, but that's probably not happening. Because of how many end up walking around here, I'm gonna say major injury. Chomp wash. It's a good thing the chain chomps aren't attacking, so I guess the only thing that could go wrong when cleaning these guys is we get a little wet. If that's the worst of it, I would be alright with that. Match that item. A game show where you press a button at the right time. Yeah, that's literally the whole thing. Let's just put this right down here. Trading cards. The name says the whole story. Anyone nervous about getting a paper cut? Actually, that probably wouldn't even happen with these types of cards. Ski-daddle. 8 people walk together with 2 very long skis. Okay, for this one, I could see how maybe something could go wrong because I doubt everyone would be walking perfectly in unison. But if you do happen to fall over, it wouldn't be that bad. Look this way. It's turning your head. If you get hurt playing this, I think you need to have a chat with your doctor. And puzzle pandemonium. Pick up pieces and solve the puzzle. Just an ordinary event to pass the time that a lot of people have done. Coin minigames are up next, and we have a noggin knock. Here we take a hammer and whack some pop-up Monty Moles for coins, which isn't dangerous in itself for us, except for the part with the bombs, which can blow up in your face if you hit them. We'll put this in slightly painful, as once again, we're dealing with the small ones. Brick Breaker. Remember playing Atari Breakout on your computer at school? Well, we're doing it here too. And once again, the gimmick is just you moving the platform, so if you felt safe back then, you'll feel safe here. Gold and brown. We're cooking some croissants for this one. Well, here's one where it could be a bigger problem if we don't know what we're doing. But even if we assume everything is done right and we don't burn ourselves, that fire is right in your face, and it could still hurt a little bit standing there for a while. Spike's Gambit. A bunch of spikes at the top of the sandy hill try to throw down spiky logs at you. A very good possibility you get hit by these and start rolling backwards, especially when they start breaking out this massive one. We're putting this in broken bones. Down the hatch. Press a button and push all of these items into the hole. This is basically your typical arcade game. Most likely no danger there. Lane change. Here we have a race car, which can be sped up quite a bit. It feels like we're flying in this thing after pressing the button just a few times. And there's definitely obstacles here that can cause you to crash, or would just be very dangerous on their own. Major injuries could absolutely happen here. Coin conveyor. Just place blocks of coins on the board. I know there are also bombs involved with this, but I'm really not worried about it here because these explosions don't happen near you. It appears we are at a safe distance. Which door has more? For this one, pick the door with the enemy there is the most of in that room. This one is awesome, and it looks like all of the enemies here are pretty chill. They're joining in on the party, so they put their weapons down and let us have fun with this. Sky-high cannons. I really don't think being fired out of one of these is the safest thing ever. Also, we get launched many times and can go super high in the air, which makes for a long fall. Everything about this screams major injury. Oh boy, now we got the Survive-a-thon minigames featuring Imposter Bowser. The first one is burning bridges. Jump over the fire being launched from either side. This feels like one of the more tame minigames in this category, which is saying a lot because I still think the burns from this are enough to put it in major injury. Castle Hassle. There is way too much going on in this one. Imposter Bowser is chasing you down. There's cannonballs falling from the sky. Oh yeah, and there's lava right below your feet. First time in a while I've had to do it, but this one is going all the way up in death tier. The Sleight of Shell. Follow the shell with the bombs and don't pick that one. You know, assuming you don't want to get blown up. For the others with this enemy, I ranked them a bit lower, but in this one, look how far you get launched when they explode. I have to move this one up to major injury. Fire away. Climb up a pole while avoiding bullet bills so that you don't fall into the lava rising beneath you. Do you have the strength to scale all the way up this thing fast enough to not be cooked? If you answered yes, you are a supernatural human being. And for the last one in this group, we have the floor is falling. We have to quickly find the safe platform before everything disappears. If not, we fall down into the dark abyss. Given how easy it is to fall here, there's electricity around, and we have no idea what's below. I'm also putting this in death tier. Okay, now for the rhythm minigames. Soup Troop is up first. Feel the beat and cut up all this food as they fall. Obviously, the part that worries me here are the knives. They are pretty big. They have to be very sharp to cut through all of this, and everyone is swinging them super fast. One little slip or miscalculation, and this is a major injury waiting to happen. Parfait the course. Take a spoon spoon and hit some fruit into the giant parfait. We don't have sharp objects for this one, but someone might still get hurt from being hit by one of these. I'll go with slightly painful. Whisk cream. That's basically all there is to it. Just mix some cream together. I have very little concern with this. Spread and butter. Here's another one involving knives, and we're on a moving platform that keeps going no matter what. So again, you've got to make some quick movements. However, butter knives are famously much less sharp than the knives used before. So I think at worst, this is slightly painful. Short stack chef, cooking some pancakes. Wow, you're making me hungry now. Anyway, this one could lead to some pain because of course that pan is very hot, but everyone seems to be keeping their hand on the handle the whole time, and therefore they have no risk of burning themselves. I think this is pretty safe. Burger builders. Very simple. Just take the ingredients of a burger and stack them up on the turntable. They are pretty massive pieces, but I can't see anyone getting hurt with this. The footlong frenzy. The same thing here. All we gotta do is make a giant footlong sandwich. Oh my gosh, I really shouldn't be writing this script on an empty stomach. Copycat curry. Waluigi is our dance master, and we throw curry into the pot when he does. At first, I thought this would be totally safe, but if we toss it up in the air like this, there's a chance it could get on people, and even in their eyes. And this is a spice, so that's gonna cause some pain. Unbarb. Stab the giant pieces of food with the skewers. Again, we have sharp objects here that would be a bit dangerous in this kind of setting. It could also be pretty heavy, and you might get knocked off your pedestal. I'm gonna meet in the middle on this and go broken bones, because things could go wrong, but it's not as bad as others. And then there's on the beat, digging up some crops in a garden. I'm not really sure how it would work if they come out of the dirt this quickly, but either way, I still feel pretty safe about it. And the last 5 we have to cover are the boss minigames. There's Dragon Eel Slayers. Amazing name once again, just have to say it. We fight this boss in the water on a jet ski. There's whirlpools, a bunch of urchins around, and basically a lot of dangerous stuff. I feel like Broken Bones would be a good spot for it. Mega Sting by Stompers. I've actually never been stung by a bee before, but I've heard it's painful. So how bad would it hurt if a bee this size was to sting you? I'm gonna increase this one to Broken Bones just because of how much I don't want to find out. Mega Rocky Wrench Wreckers. I've talked about this before, but if you get hit by some kind of tool thrown at you, like, I don't know, a wrench, might end up breaking a bone from that. Boss Sumo Bro Blitzers. We have even more electricity to deal with in this game. I'm not really sure if we're being attacked with it, but we can't take any chances. This will go in major injury just like the others with this theme. And finally, there's Bowser Crashers, where we try to defeat the giant imposter Bowser with our hoverboards. He claws at you, spits fire at you, and drops bombs on your head in typical Final Battle fashion. It almost feels like it should be in death tier, but it's not the worst thing we've seen. So with all that said, we're gonna close out this list and put the final game in major injury. Wow, that took a long time to do. Let me know if there's anything on this list you would change and why. I hope you're enjoying the new Mario Party game as much as I am, and I really hope you're enjoying these videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care, everyone.